Hello and welcome to today's NinjaTrader ecosystem event, Trade with a Discipline Manager. My name is Thomas and I'm a platform representative here at NinjaTrader. Now, before we start the webinar, I have a few housekeeping notes. Now, this webinar is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to the NinjaTrader brokerage team using the phone number or email on the screen. If you are new to NinjaTrader, please make sure you sign up for a free NinjaTrader demo, which includes access to 14 days of complimentary real-time market data. Our platform is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. You can get your free account by clicking the link on the screen, clicking Get Started under the Welcome section. And before I turn the mic over to Steve Tremper, it's important to understand that futures, foreign currency, and options trading contain substantial risk and is not suitable for every investor. It is possible to lose all or more than one's initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And please remember that these training sessions are not solicitation or recommendation, but simply educational in nature. Now, thank you again for joining us today. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome to the webinar room, Steve.
Hi, Thomas. How are you? Well, thanks again, Thomas, for having me. And thanks, Ninja, for giving me the opportunity to kind of go over the Discipline Manager and see if it is a fit for any of your clients. In today's seminar, I just want to go over, summary some of the things that my intent is what is, first of all, introduce you to, and what is, and do you even need it at all, the Discipline Manager. And I'll show you how to establish your rules within the settings inside of Discipline Manager. And I'll give you some examples of what will happen and the signals you'll get when you breach some of your limits and how you're going to get shocked. And today we'll go over just go over the cost initially, but then if you stay to the end, I've got a little super secret button that you can go to and get a little better deal. And then how to download it. You could download it right away and start, playing with it right now, actually. And then we'll cover any kind of questions and answers that you have. And most of the questions that I get are typically on settings or how-tos, things like that. And we'll go over those here, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some of them. But by all means, if there's any questions, I'll certainly take them. So who am I and what am I about? I'm, a small little company consisting of me, myself, and I. And I've actually been in the fire service. I've been in the fire service. I just retired in 19, been there for a long time, probably 10, 15, some year, 12, some like years ago, I started, messing around with the, stocks and options and all that business. And after failing with all that, somehow I stumbled on futures, and it just seemed that futures were just such a better fit for me. To each his own, I suppose, but that's how I kind of stumbled into it. But by no means, and I'll reiterate, by no means do I want to come across as some trading expert. I struggle with the same psychology and the emotional part of it that all of you do, and it's probably why you're even here right now. I still to this day have issues with it, and the Discipline Manager was made for me. I couldn't find anything out there, and I've always been kind of a analytical kind of guy, so I was always doing Excel spreadsheets on my trades and whatnot. But the fear of missing out and the revenge trades seemed to always just get me in, and that's how the Discipline Manager actually came to fruition. And I still use it, and it was then years after that I actually had it coded, and some other people wanted to have it, and so that's how it all came to be, and got introduced to Ninja, and then we went from there. So in any event, disclaimer, I know Thomas covered all this, and frankly I really don't need to have this in here because Discipline Manager doesn't trade for you. If anything, it's the reverse. It'll stop you from trading. So by no means do I really need this disclaimer, but I'll just keep everybody happy and leave it in here. But it's all boils down to the the money management part of it. And it's, most of the traders fail. I mean, 80% lose, 10% will just, break even, and then 10%, can make some money consistently. And I'm not talking about, the big hedge funds and the big guys. I'm talking about just the regular retail traders. And what is it that we have the issue with? And I say we because I'm there with you. Psychology. I think a lot of it has to do with psychology and emotions. And if you don't get in, you're going to miss it because this is it. It should go. And so you get in only to realize that, well, maybe I shouldn't have gotten in just yet. I should have waited a little bit longer. But looking back at it, it's all retrospect. So you just the fear of missing out in that type of situation. So the lack of a trading plan. I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm always there for people, questions, answers, advice, whatever kind of tidbit that I can give, along with, we have a Skype trading group with got a lot of guys in there that are just traders helping traders. And I get all kinds of questions asked, and how do I do this, or how do I do that? And we're just helping each other. That's it. And a lot of people don't have the trading plan, and it goes back to no plan is a plan to fail. So you got to have a trading plan. You got to have rules. And so statistically, I just get those numbers from Google. You can Google it. This is a couple of years ago, I guess, but I'm pretty sure I could say that pretty confidently that the numbers really haven't changed that much. But you're more than welcome to fact check me. But as far as the money management statistical side of it, so, again, we talk about why do they fail, and it's the loss limits, over trading. When I first started, it was definitely over trading. I'd be embarrassed to tell you how many trades it would take, but fear of missing out is a big one. And then just the waiting. Oh God. And that's why I've kind of, over the last couple of years, I've kind of turned to algos, because I just can't tell you how many countless hundreds of hours that I've spent staring at a screen, not able to get, pretty much do anything, because I'm just staring at, because as soon as I leave to go get some water and come back, I've missed it. It never fails. So that's just all about the statistics part of it. And so my worst 4-letter word is wait. I am an impatient guy. I like the adrenaline part of it. Maybe that's why I got into fire service. I don't know. But needless to say, you've got to master the ability to wait. And, the old adage, we're not traders, we're waiters. We just have to wait and wait. And eventually, we get paid. We get paid to wait. So, I mean, it all boils down to, if you just wait long enough, you'll eventually get it. But boy, is it tough. Here I am waiting for, this is really, literally, this is ridiculous. How you have to wait and wait and wait, especially on days like today. Anyway, psychology and discipline. Psychology and discipline are the rules that, to deal with the losses. You've got to have the discipline to deal with the losses, and getting out too quickly, or holding positions, moving your stops around. And I don't mean just a couple ticks here and there, under some moving averages or something. I'm talking about, it's got to go, so I'll move it down another section. So, and then obviously over trading was one of my issues then. But the discipline manager cannot help you with your psychology, but it will help you with your discipline. And that will lead to a healthier psychology. I love that phrase. I wish I were the one that came up with that, but it makes so much more sense, because when you have your discipline under control and you feel comfortable, and you're looking at the screen, you're like, hey, it's not my rule. So if it pops me out, then so be it. Then next. That's all you can do, is say next. On the other hand, if it doesn't pop you out, you just have to wait for it to marinate and just go. And if you're able to handle that discipline without changing your rules midstream, that in turn then will lead to the healthier psychology, because then you just feel better. You just know, yeah, that's just as part of the game. It's what you got to deal with. And that's true. It's just part of the game. So you've got to learn to control the losses, though. I mean, obviously, there is one guarantee to get $1 million in your account, and that is if you start with $3 million and then you just trade haphazardly, you will have $1 million in your account in no time at all. So there is a way to get to that, but you really don't want to do that. You've got to control the losses. So whatever your average winning day is, you don't want to lose more than that on a bad day. You've heard the battle, you've heard the ad of the, surrender to the fight, but not the battle. And that's where it all comes to be, is that today's a bad day, let it go. Let's not blow an account. and let's just come back tomorrow with a different market. And basically your rules are the same, it's just the market's different. So it is what it is. And everybody has a different account size. So if you're trading micros or mini, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's still an account. And obviously if you're having a micro account, your numbers are going to be a little smaller. Doesn't matter though, they still ultimately want to go up. And Warren Buffett's rule was rule number one, never lose money. Rule number two is never forget rule number one. And that's so true. You've got to control the nest egg. And so the four choices that you have is you want to control you've got to get away from the big loss. You've got to eliminate the big losses. Big wins are great. Everybody loves those. Small wins are great. A lot of baseball games have been won with just singles. And the small losses are okay too. But you got to get away from the big losses and just, lowering your stop or whatever it might be, or just over trading, just commissions will eat you up, that kind of thing. So you got to watch all that. Stop losses is another way to do that. The ATMs that Ninja has is a great tool. I'm sure I don't want to have to go into it too much, but everybody's familiar with the ATMs within Ninja. And so nobody really knows what the risk reward ratio is. Everybody knows what the risk part of it is, because whatever you put your trade on, you just count back, and you can say but what's the reward? Who knows what the reward is? Did anybody see today's markets just continually going up today? Did anybody see that reward? I'm sure people got out at certain levels, but what truly is the reward? So we don't know. That's the question. So the only thing you can really do is deal with the risk part of it. And the risk side of the trade is the only thing you could do. So you don't want to move your stops, and move your stop, as I mentioned earlier. It's okay to adjust them, but you don't want to really truly move them out of the way. And my thing is, and which I totally hope I pass on to you, is revenge trading. I call it the bored trade. You're bored. You're sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and you just get bored. So I'm like, well, I'm running out of time. I got to go pick up my kids, whatever the case may be. So I'll just get in now. And, even though it's not meeting all of your rules, but you know what, I'm bored. So you get in, and of course, you know where that goes. So you can't give up. You got to keep plugging along. And I can't tell you how many, I don't even tell you about my history, but the point of it is, it created the discipline manager. So if I'm able to pass it on to somebody else, then that's great, because it worked for me, and that's what you got to do. But you're so close, and then eventually you get your equity curve that kind of starts to look a little bit. You go up and down and up and down, and you're like, oh, I can do this, I can't do this, and then you got to deal with the stresses that go along with it. But if you hang in there long enough, eventually you're like, okay, this is starting to make sense. So that's what it's all about. But you've got to protect yourself from you, because you're it. You don't have a whole team of people and coworkers that you work with. It's you, and you're the decision maker. You're the one that has to be in control, and it's hard to do, very hard to do. And at least it was for me, and that's how the discipline manager came to be. So you've got to consider your business. Everybody talks about a trading business. You've got to consider the fact that you're the CEO of your business. And by rights, you really are. So you're the CEO, but you delegate your rules to the manager. And then it allows and monitors and monitors your employees, who just happen to be you also, because remember, you're everything. So the point of it is, so the CEO delegates the rules and has the manager follow the rules and monitor the rules to these employees. Then you come along as an employee, and believe me, the big firms have this too. If somebody's having a bad day, the manager comes up, taps them on the shoulder, and says, hey, go take a break, or you're done for the day. You're just having a bad day. That's fine. Take a mental health day. If you're trading an employee, which is you, get out of line, then the discipline manager comes in and just kind of controls the company's losses on your behalf. And now at the following CEO meeting, and I usually call that like on a weekend, or maybe after trading hours or something like that, you have a meeting with yourself and you say, hey, maybe these rules are too tight and I need to kind of let them go, or maybe they're too stringent. Whatever the case may be, is that you reevaluate your numbers and your rules and all your settings per se, and you come up with a game plan for the next week or the next day, whatever that might be. that's when you change your rules, if you need to change your rules after you've evaluated them. But you don't want to do it. You don't want your employee to do it in the middle of the morning when you've taken multiple bad trades and you just haphazardly want to throw some rules out there just to kind of get past, whatever it is. So anyway, enough said on that. But some of the settings and, the management rules with the discipline manager is it allows you to set your own hard stops, daily and weekly. So when I talk about daily stops, there's also weekly in there too, but mainly it's daily. So you could come up with your own halt, as it's called. And if you want warnings, then you could have those too. And it has drawdown limits so when they're hit, if your warning gets hit, then it's it's kind of like a circuit breaker. It's a 15-minute, I call it a timeout, 15-minute timeout. I guess you feel like a kid, but it's a 15-minute timeout where it won't let you trade for 15 minutes and it'll have a time on there. And so go get some coffee, whatever the case may be, come back with a different mindset, a little break. And hopefully by that time that the market has kind of flushed wherever it might be at the given time. And now you can come back and say, okay, let's go again. Some people use the warning, some people don't. But regardless, if you keep going in the wrong direction, it ultimately will hit your halt and you'll be done. Now, once your daily or weekly goal is hit, on the other hand, you can continue to trade, but you never want to give back more than a set percentage or a dollar amount, whatever, of your goal. So that, again, that is put together, during the time when you're putting your rules together. Okay, I've hit my goal, whatever that is. How much am I willing to give back? And some people say 0, and that's fine. You hit your goal, you're done. That's it. There's no, I want to keep going kind of thing. So again, if that's your rule, then you just put 0 in there. I'm not giving anything back. And then again, the warning boxes, are displayed when the thresholds are breached. So that's, pretty much the nuts and bolts of how it all works. There was much discussion regarding a reset. So you've blown your rules, and how do I do a reset? I don't want to allow the user to, override their own rules and things like that. So we went back and forth on that. And at the end of the day, it was realized that you as the owner, the CEO of your company, we are not brokers. We cannot stop you from doing whatever it is you want to do. This is still a free country. So, if you want to turn it off, you want to reset, you want to remove it. I mean, that's an option that you have to do. The final decision is yours. But that said, if you opt to reset it, we did make it a little difficult. So it's not like just a matter click of a button and off you go. So you do have to, navigate here, navigate there, do this, do that. And then, you have to relaunch Ninja, which means close off your workspaces. I'll, hit your, close the account with the broker, sign back in, got to go through all the motions to go through it. So by that time, everything's all done and hopefully the market's moved away and you could move forward. So here's some of the settings that we have within the discipline manager. And you can see here, let's use my little pointer here. So I've just used, these are hypothetical here. So the warning is at $350. So if you lose $350, then you're going to get a warning pop up with a timeout saying, go take a break. Now, if you go down $500, then you're going to be halted for the day. And then on the good side of that, let's say you hit your goal. Let's say your goal is $500. And then what do you do after that? So your dynamic warning is if I lose 30% of my $500, then I want to get a timeout and a chill pill. If I go 50%, so I've hit my $500 goal, but I've given back $250, I'm done. I don't want to continue and try to fight it. Just, be done and be happy with that. And then the same thing kind of goes in the weekly. It's you have to kind of use the numbers a little bit bigger. You got to assume that you lose one day, you lose a second day. So Wednesday, but you don't want to come Thursday, Friday. You don't want to be giving back a lot of your hard week money earned and then give it all back on a one day. So it kind of accumulates it over throughout the week. And the same theory holds true if you're let's say your weekly goal is $700 or your weekly warning will be $700 when you hit your goal on that of $1,500, and then your halt would be $1,000. So you would end the week with 500. So at least you're, not giving it all back. But this is where I was saying that if you don't want to, if you hit your goal, you're done. I mean, that's another way to look at it. So this is where you would put 0 in there. And then, then there's some other options that we've added in here with different versions as far as, well, let's go to another page, but there's, this is an older one. The next one I think has a newer version. Naked orders are in here for algos and things like that. And then down at the bottom, it shows your stats. And then there's a reset there, that if you had to do the reset, but it requires, a restart. So you got to basically start all over again. So this is not an indicator. It's not on your chart. It doesn't actually get placed like a little window on your chart. There's nothing, that little bar graph that goes up and down. Basically it runs in the background and it's monitoring your account. If I kind of like a separate window, I haven't lately, I haven't had it on lately, but I know that I just basically shrink this window just to show my stats down at the bottom. And then that way I could just take that window and just kind of stick it somewhere, but it doesn't have to be on at all. So it's not an issue to even just turn it off at all, because it'll be on. So again, I just kind of just reiterate there. I just, you hit your warning of $350 is your warning. You get a halt at 500. And once you close an order, and you breach it by 350, the discipline manager will trigger a circuit breaker, as I mentioned. And this is kind of what that'll look like. You'll get a little warning there that says, warning hit, trading halted. This happens to be on a sim account that I was working on, but whatever account you have set up, whether it be your own regular normal account, whether it be a playback account, whether it be a sim account, whether it be any one of the prop firm accounts, etc. So whatever account you have these rules assigned to, when you breach them, that's the warning that you're going to get. So after the 15-minute timeout, you will be allowed to come back, and and you can keep, hopefully you go up, and it'll trail up. I mean, that's the whole game plan, plan on a mindset, is that you come back with a better mind, and you come back and you keep going, you go up instead of further down. But at this point, if you do hit the halt, then you're not going to be allowed to do it again. And if you try to put on a limit order or a sell order, within a millisecond, it'll just take it right off again. And if you think you're smart and you just do a market order because you can beat it, yes, you can. It'll put on a market order and it'll come right off again, leaving you with a commission, possibly slippage. So you don't want to try to outsmart it. But if you do get halted, then that's it. You're done, and go deal with something else and come back tomorrow and try to recoup it, because tomorrow's definitely another day. So let's talk about the the goals and the dynamic part of it. And once your goal has been reached, you're going to see a notice like this. We'll say congratulations, you've hit your goal. So now your drawdown rules are now in effect. So it's different than your original ones. These are based on percentages and where you go from there. So definitely you have two options, two rules of thumb. You can hit your goal and you're done. As I said earlier, some people do that and they just put 0. I don't want to give anything back. Or you continue to trade, but you only want to give a percentage back. And what is that percentage? Well, I mean, that's kind of up to you as far as what that's going to be. Once the goal is hit, the dynamic drawdown becomes effective, and it will halt trading if that is breached. So as I said, if you put 0 in there, that's pretty much about it. And if your setting drawdown is set to 100, then that's what I used to do, is I put like 90% on there. I would say I've hit my goal, so I'm willing to give back 90% of it, leaving 10% for commissions and whatnot. So basically, if worst comes to shove, I just have a scratch day. Well, that's okay, fine. But I've seen everything from 50%, 33%, 25%, whatever. I mean, you're the boss, so whatever kind of numbers you want in there. And obviously, it's going to depend on your account size too. How much have you got to play with. So as discussed earlier, the dynamic rules also incorporate the circuit breakers. After your timeout, you can continue. If your second goal is breached, then you have a second rules that apply. And the reason why we added that into a later version is because just having one set of rules, it climbs up with you. So if you hit your goal, and you're only going to give back, say, 50%. Well, let's say you're $1,000 and you're willing to give back 50% of $500. Well, now you've gone up, and now you're at $2,000. Well, do you really want to give back 50%? So that's $1,000. And then you keep going up and it's $3,000. You really want to give back 15% or, $1,500. So the question is that whenever you want to change your percentage and make it a little smaller, that's when you would kind of kick into the next level of your level 2. So just bringing down the percentage. When you've reached, $1,000, that's fine if you want to do 50%. But when you get a little higher at say $2,000, you might not want to be given 50%. You might want to bring that down to 25% or 10% or 0. Be done with that. When you hit your second goal, maybe you'd be out. Whatever you want. And there's just some math that just shows you, what the difference is that we pretty much just talked about. So here's a rule or a new version that we did in November 2020. Gosh, it's been that long ago already. Max trades we added in there, and there's a little confusion. So I'm going to change some verbiage on this as far as the max trades. But a trade is in essence, as far as discipline manager is concerned, a hit on your account. So as soon as you put on a trade, regardless of the contract, as soon as you put on a trade, boom, you get hit with commissions, and that's a hit on your account. So that counts as a trade. And so I think just the verbiage confuses the people. So maybe we'll say max hits or max account touches or something like that. But the point of it is that that's a trade. So now you take off your first contract. Well, that's a second trade. And then you take off your final contract 3. That's a third trade. So you can see how the numbers are they're not setups. So maybe changing that to setups might help. So one setup might consist of 2 contracts, something like that. Same with max losses. You're only going to give yourself, so many max losses. I don't know that many people that use that, to be honest with you. And then we talked about the level 1 and level 2, and that's where I was saying is that if you want to change your percentages, that's when you will go to another level. Let's see what's next here. Okay, and then the newer version of time flies. So now we're in 2021 already. We added the naked because of all the algos, me specifically. There are some algos that don't use stops. So you definitely would not want that on if that were the case. And I do have a couple hedge funds that do use the discipline manager to back up some of their computers. They have multiple licenses, and they, this is more of a, I don't know, call it a security blanket or something. But in any event, if you're using an algo and you don't have stops, then you want to make sure that's certainly off. But with me, I like the stops. I like to know where they are. I like to see them, and so I want that on. And because I have had some algos that, for some reason, it just got these naked orders out there that just never come off, and so this will find it. And we actually had to scale down because it was too fast. So anytime a trailing stop would move from one position up to another position, there would be a spot of nothing on there, and it would take off the order because it saw naked. So we actually had to kick it back a couple milliseconds just to give it a time to say, is this truly it could be a delay in the internet. If there's a hiccup in the internet, that could stop it. So anyway, that's that. And then there was some other things that were set to default, so you could save your settings. So if you have multiple accounts, now if you have one micro account and one mini account, you obviously are going to have, you don't need to set it for a default because there's no way you would want to put those same percentage rules on those accounts. But if you're having multiple accounts, which I know a lot of people are doing now with some of these prop firms and all that, you could just save your setting default, and then you have to go into each account and just, you got your default, or just apply it to that account. So it's just a couple clicks and you're done. So one of the drawbacks that we still have is an obstacle, and that is we cannot suppress market orders. So if you're going to outsmart it, like I told you before, you're going to get faster. So they click the button and you're out and you're in a market order. Well, it'll see that and says, hey, you've breached your goals, so we're going to take it off. What we ultimately like to do is be able to say, when you try to put on a market order, it's just going to say, no, you can't do that. But right now it's not available. So if you do want to, follow this and maybe put some inquiries into Ninja and get this ticket up further in the little to-do list, that's what we're kind of tracking to do to be able to suppress these manual orders. In the meantime, it's not there, so we got to kind of wait for that. Upcoming versions for wish list. We've been collecting over the time, and there's no time when this is going to happen, but we do collect and get input from everybody, and we value that. And so the The hours we're going to have on there, for like news or, just you don't want to trade after X time, noon or whatever it might be. Changing the logic, I talked to you about the max trades, the positions, some lock options, which I thought was pretty cool. And then the multiple templates. So right now we have a default template, but this way you get a multiple templates for different accounts depending on what you're doing, just to give an easier way to put things together. And then your realized and unrealized, unbreached situation. It's all mathematical stuff. Statistics page, auto liquidate threshold, which we're working actually on right now with the status box, which is going to be hopefully soon. And then I already talked about the market orders already. So with the status box, if you're interested there, if you go to tools on the web page and you go to status box, that does print right now on your screen, and it will show you your statistics, your balance, how much you've done for the day, etc. And then to give your statistics like MFE, MAE, and all that. And in the very near future, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is we will be putting on there this auto liquidate threshold. So you'll know on your given account, since a lot of people are using these prop firms now, you'll have that at a glance and you'll be able to see it without having to do the calculation yourself on the side. Real time, right then and there, it'll be on there. So that's available now, and if you're interested. But anyway, so to get started, currently it is on a subscription, like everything in this world seems to be on a subscription nowadays. It started many, many years ago. With I think Microsoft, 20 years ago with subscriptions and whatever, and Netflix and everybody else has got a subscription. So, and I feel better about this because I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars that I have invested in indicators and things like that, which I don't even use anymore. So this way I feel that's not, I have most people will try it out for a few months, and anywhere from like 3 to 6 months seems to be kind of like a key, and they feel comfortable with it, or they're satisfied with their results and what they've been done, so they can cancel the subscription at any time via the PayPal, and that's fine. And some people come back a couple of months later also, but for the most part, I don't feel like I'm taking it. If I charge $1,000 or $2,000 or something like that, you use it for a few months, and then you just it's like, I don't know. I just feel better doing it this way, and that seems to be you can't even watch TV on Netflix now without a subscription, so I guess that's just the way it is. But you could download this. You can download it right now for 20 days. And there's free trial. It's been a 20-day free trial, which basically is a month of a month of trading. Anyway, 20 trading days, but it gives you enough time to kind of play around with it. And you could set your rules on a sim account, or you could set them on a playback account, and you can make some plays and try to purposely lose and see what happens, and et cetera, et cetera. And you can reset it a million times until you feel comfortable with it. So you have plenty enough time to do that. And then the PayPal activation is not required. So you can just download it right now and just start using it. You don't need anything. You just start doing it because it's got a free 20-day trial. When you do decide to go further, then the PayPal will take kicks in right away. So I would advise not to do the PayPal until you are ready to actually go forward with it. Just go ahead and play with it. There are monthly and annual options available, and PayPal makes it very easy to cancel your subscription. So how do you get it? So you go to tools. This is the web page here. So you go to tools up there on the menu. I guess if you're on a phone, I believe it's over on the right, whatever, but I don't do phone. And so there it is, the very first one. There's a bunch. Everything here I've made for me. All these things here. Some I still use to this day. Some I kind of really don't. Some I have included in Helix. Helix there's a couple that aren't on here anymore because they are now involved in Helix. And a lot of these are free. I mean, this one's free. There's a couple of them that are free, just because I've made them for me, and I just for whatever reason they're just like this one here, prices. I love this one. So these are all available. This is probably very common, but my favorite still is status box. And then the target zones is one to look at too. So those are all good. And, these are all free, you can take them. But Discipline Manager is, the one that's probably the most, the hottest topic. And this is where you would go to click on there. and you go into Discipline Manager and you're going to see your options for subscription. Just click on that button right there and it'll pop open. But you know, you can read a little bit more about it if you want to see some old webinars. There you go, it's starting to go. But today, you know, like every seminar, we do have a special offer. So I will go ahead, and we offer the 30% off for a limited time. And again, it is based on a subscription. So as long as you keep the subscription, this 30% will just continue. Once you cancel the subscription, then if you wanted to resubscribe, it would be at the normal price. But you know, again, as part of the webinar, we can, you know, you can download this discount button, and I'll tell you right where it is here on the discount code page, and get the 30% off. It's a separate button than that one on the page itself. It's a super secret place that I have. But the thing is that it does expire. It's going to expire in 3 days. I'll turn it off on Sunday. It'll expire Sunday night. So the only thing, caveat to all this, is that yes, you'll have a 20-day trial. If you downloaded it right now, you can play for 20 days. However, on the 20th day, if you decide to continue, that PayPal super secret button with this 30% off will have long been expired. So in essence, if you want to get the special, you got 3 days to make a decision. If you want to have 20 days to play with it, then you could certainly do that. However, it won't be the 30% off. So in order to find that, there's 2 ways to get it. One is just, this is the older page. So it's the referrals, and you go click there, and then you come down to discount codes. Over here on the left, I have a bunch of these prop firms. And so over here is the discount codes. And if you go to the discount codes, or here's the newest page. Right now, you actually have a direct link to it, but otherwise it's under referrals. It's in 2 places. But in any event, discount codes is updated all the time. And I'll put on there, you know, what prop firms are running, what specials and whatnot. Here's my little 2 cents on the P&Ls as far as realized and unrealized. You can read about that. But here it is. Here's that little special button that I have right down here under webinar specials. That will, now this is an old one here, but this will, it's there right now. It'll disappear in you know, Sunday. And then there's some other things. So that's how you get it. And once you do click on that button and you do want to go ahead to it, you'll get something that looks like this. It'll say 0, you know, for that particular day right now. And then it's gonna start with whatever the 34.95, and it'll say it's gonna, you know, start right away, and it'll go from there. So again, try it out first. Don't even bother going to PayPal if I at least get the 3 days out of it, or you know, but anyway, that's where it is. So the only thing I will need to continue further after the 20 days, because as I say, the 20, it's just automatically on for, if you have some problems with it because of machine IDs, it does require machine IDs. And I do know a lot of people use VPSs and whatnot, which are shared by everybody. So there are a lot of the same machine ID, which obviously then it won't work because somebody probably already beat you to it. And so therefore you would need the, you know, I need your third-party ID. So I will need this contact form filled out in order to continue further. But other than that, that should be about it. So I'm going to run through some, here's contact information. I'll go through some questions. I'll look at I see a couple things here anyway, in the chat. But if you guys have any questions in the chat, you could pop them in there. But there's my contact information. Skype is an easy one because I always have that on. Plus, I'm always in the trade group. We have the traders group inside Skype, and I'm always in there. And if you want to join that, you're more than welcome. It's free. It's just traders helping traders, and you can just do an invite, and you can go to the community page on the web page. There's a community tab, and that has all kinds of ways to get a hold of me as far as, you know, calendars or Skypes or your trade room or the social hour we have, you know, whatever. You can check all that out. So let me, all right, so let me read this. Oh, wow, I gotta go back a ways. Oh, wow, there's a lot. Okay. Is it recorded? I don't know. Can you set up that I can only start at 9:45? As I mentioned, I don't know who sent me this, but as I mentioned earlier, we're going to put trading hours, but that's in a version to come in the future. So as it stands right now, no, it's just always on. It's not going to stop you at any given time. If you are running an algo, the algo should be able to do it. But if you're doing it manually, then no, not yet. Put it that way. Already has a weekly and daily profit loss. What is the difference of versus Ninja. Well, we're getting the data from Ninja. The question is NinjaTrader already has the weekly and daily limit profit. Once you hit a profit or loss, whatever, I think they just stop you off. But actually, I have that on my account too. It just stops you and freezes you. But this is allows you to continue to go forward. Plus, it also gives you a little control, but it allows you to go up. So if you are the one that opts to stop when you hit a goal, that's fine. But what if you want to trade like maybe 50%? You want to keep going. So that's you have to evaluate to see what the pros and cons are with there. Theirs are a little bit more generic, if you will. You have a little bit more leeway with the Discipline Manager. And is there a fast way to reset? No, there's not a fast way to reset, and that's for a reason. Because you've blown your rules. And so if it were just a matter of a click of a button and that you can just, recycle it lickety split, well, then what is the purpose? It's just no. So it can be reset, but it's not lickety split. It's not a fast way. So you broke your rule. Don't break your rules. I guess that's it. Does this mean my max drawdown, it will close my positions automatically? Yes and no. Yes and no. We have to say that because there is a spot in there that you have a choice in your setting. I think I might be able to do it right here. I can tell you where it is. Hold on. Close right here. Close existing position. So if you have this checked, then if you breach your rules, boom, you're going to be out. If you're using realized right here, then, and let's say your first contract goes off and you've breached your rules. So now that it's realized and the account says, oh, you breached your rules, it's gone because it's already come off, and that's how it calculates. The question is, what do you want to do with that second position? If you have 2 or 3 positions open, what do you want to do with that one? And if you breach your rules, well, I think it's the default. The default says you close those positions. You breach your rules, you close them. However, you can uncheck that, and it will keep those on with the hope that you will, obviously get out of the hole, because if you don't get out of the hole, then when it closes, you will definitely be locked out. However, you're going to lose a lot more than you originally intended. So I don't think in a rational state of mind, when you're going through these rules, the rule of thumb is, hey, if I breach, I breach. I'm done. I mean, it's just not working. So let's just close it. But yeah, so that hopefully will answer your question there. Let's see. Is today's event recorded? I've been told it is. I personally am not recording it, but Thomas has said that it does, but it takes them a little while to kind of cut and splice and edit and, do all that business. So it will be available when it's available. I will send out emails if you're on my list. I'll send out the emails, and actually, if you want to get on like that discount code page email list, you can get on that too, because I have an email list on there. So if you're on the list, you'll get a notice with that. It'll be on my webpage too. So thank you. You're welcome. Can you show reset process screens? So right here this is the settings. Actually, it just kind of goes. This is, it's a long setting thing. So I'm scrolling down here. So scrolling down at the very end, there's your stats that we were talking about earlier. So coming down here, you got this button right here. Now, right here, it says apply. And it says apply because I haven't applied my rules. Once I click that, the apply will disappear and the reset will show up. And you'll get a red warning there that says, hey, if you reset, you got to restart, kind of thing. So let's say you apply these rules and now you're good to go and you want to change them midstream. You would have to then come in here, hit reset, shut everything down, come in here, reload all your rules, whatever, they're going to be, whatever, and then apply them again, and then you'll be good to go. So that's where that is. It's all in the one settings place. And that settings is under, in the control center. As I say, it's not on a chart. So you go to control center and you go to new, and down at the bottom, it'll be right there under new. And you could rather leave it open on your screen or not. And this is the window that I kind of shrink this whole settings window, and I shrink it down to these 3 lines right here. So it's a real small window, and then I just scroll to this. So this window stays open on my screen right there. That's all I really care to see. Okay. Is there a discount Easter code for your third-party tool like Helix? Well, Helix doesn't cost any money right now. So, well, I guess there's a little maintenance fee, but this is well, the answer to your question, the discount code I just mentioned about it, if you go to the discount code page down under webinars, there's a 30% off on the Discipline Manager. You're asking about the other tools and like Helix specifically, you say. So the other tools, a lot of them are free, like the profit, I'm sorry, the target zone, which everything I do is kind of like zone. So the target zone is there's no charge on that. The volume sliver, no charge on it. You can watch the little videos on all those and kind of see what you want. The status box only has like a, it's just a minimal maintenance thing. So that's basically free. Reversal bars are real minor. So the only thing that that costs really a little bit of money, and I don't frankly think $47 a month is a lot of money, but is the Discipline Manager. Now, Helix at some point in time, since you brought it up, Helix at some time will have a value to it, or price, a bigger price to it, but I'm not there yet. That's still in development. A lot of the stuff is done. It's a big project, and that I can tell you right now will not be free, but that's all automated. You set your own rules in there. It's got setups already in there, but you can make your own. You could tweak your own, and if you even want custom settings, if you have a setup that you like, that one moving average crossing over another, whatever the case is, that could be added in there, and they could all be tweaked. But Helix is kind of powerful, so that will definitely not be free. But right now it's still in beta, so yes, you can download that and play with it. Watch the video on it. There's a lot to that, so you're gonna have to spend a lot of time on that one. Have you considered adding an option to lock? Yes, as I mentioned earlier in the, I don't want to go back the slide, but on those future things, there's a lock option. Somebody was talking about a lock that maybe they can give them to their spouse, so it's under lock and key, or a combination where you can't do that, or 24-hour delay or something like that. So there's all kinds of talks about things in the future, but as it stands right now, you would have to hit reset, go through all the motions to reset it, and you could do that. And it all boils down to lawyers. You can't, I can't, maybe Ninja can, but I can't, and even Ninja doesn't even need, but it's just a hassle to get there. But I can't lock you out of your own account. It's your account. And I don't have the authority, nor would I want it, to say, no, you can't trade your own account. I mean, it's your money. So you've got to take a little bit more responsibility, but this will make it a little harder because, again, you're the CEO of the company and you hire the manager. And if you don't like the manager, you fire the manager. But then you take all the responsibility on your own. So, that's it. So in any event, Thomas, I don't want to be going over my time very much. I have a few more questions here, and then I'm almost, if I'm okay, I'll just keep going here. As I understood, this is not an indicator. No, this is not an indicator. This is, not quite sure. It's not a drawing tool. It's just a tool. So it's under new, and then way down the bottom, it's a separate window that pops up, and it monitors your account. So it doesn't have to be on your chart. It doesn't have to be open. I mean, obviously your rules have to be applied, because if you don't apply your rules, it's not going to do anything. That's why I say, take it, play with your rules. A lot of people will send me this default, not the default, the export. Send me your export file if you wish, and I'll tell you what's going to happen. And you might think it's something else is going to happen, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. So if you want to set your rules up the way you think that's going to happen, you send me over these rules here in this little TXT file that'll pop up on your desktop. Just shoot me over that, and I'll look at these rules and I'll send them back to you. Or you could join Social Hour, or even Skype. I mean, preferably I like the talking part of it. It's easier than typing all this stuff. But by all means, join Social Hour. We can talk, and I can get you set up. We share screens. If you have any, I'll get you squared away. But again, send me your rules and I'll tell you what's going to happen, and then you can decide if that's what you really want or not, and then change accordingly. Or the video in there too should tell you. So when the screen reappears after a reset, none of the previous settings entries will be there. Yes, they will be there, assuming you set them for default. If you set them as a default, all your settings will just pop up there automatically. But again, if let's say you're running one micro account and you're doing one mini account, you've got to you could set one as default, but you certainly wouldn't want those on both accounts. Those rules are different. So that's what we're talking about, multiple templates. But right now we don't have that. We just have just the default. So whenever you set that as a default, it'll change the default that comes standard with your install. And you would then, now that would be the default for your other account, which would be up here. So up here, you see I have it on the playback, but this little caret up here, there's a down arrow. If you open that up, you'll see all your accounts in there. And you would have to, if you were doing like multiple accounts, and or using some sort of copy machine or whatever to go to different accounts, you would have to then go to each account and do, well, you could just use the leader account in theory, but I've seen a lot of hiccups with that too. So you want to be careful with that. So on a safety side of it, you probably just want to go to each individual account and just apply, and then go to the next account, hit apply, next account, hit apply, and then you're done. But then that's it. I mean, how often do you change your rules? I mean, if you're changing your rules a lot, you probably should spend some time in market replay and get your rules kind of finited down, and then set your rules, and your rules are your rules. I mean, that's just it. Again, as I said before, no plan is a plan to fail. So you got to have a plan. You can't be changing them on the whim. So yeah, enough on that preaching. I've been there. I've done that. So trust me, just take my word on it. Ninja Trader is an option to lock you out. Yes, they will lock you out. I'm not quite sure how that works. I don't know if they lock you out to the next day. I think it is the next day. Maybe Thomas has more information on that. But yes, I do believe Ninja. If I'm assuming you have an account with Ninja. I mean, I do, and I send them the instruction to say, stop me or halt me, whatever the case is. But that's it. They don't trail. There's no. That's it. It's just like whatever that number is. That's it. And then and it's a dollar amount, yes, until the next day. And again, define day. So what's your definition of day right here? Do you want it at midnight, or do you want it at 5 o'clock? So but not so many options of loss, profit and loss. So yeah, so as I say, you can check out what Ninja's got. Again, you have to have an account with them, because if you don't have an account with them and you're going through a prop firm, well, then you got to check their rules and see what options they've got available to them. So this just puts it all in your lap, basically, and it's just a way to do it. Do you have a template to start with, an explanation of all of your rules? Well, I think I've just done that, and there is a video on there, and I'd be more than willing to talk to anybody, or you send me emails or whatever you want to do. We can Zoom, or I'm on Zoom all the time, social hour, etc. We could just chit chat. I got to know what are you thinking? What are you doing? I mean, it's basically how much do you want to lose in a day, and do you want it to trail? Do you want it to trail, or do you just want to go high low, or what's your goal? And then once you hit your goal, what do you want to do? So I mean, here's your you just got to ask yourself that. Ask the CEO, what do you want to do when my goal is hit? Do you want to trade or not? And if you do want to trade, how much allowance do you get? That kind of thing. So I think I've done everything as far as my chat. So if anybody has any other final questions, Thomas, I think I'm good to go as far as time, right? You haven't.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you haven't kicked me off yet. So that's it. That's pretty much all I've got. That's all the questions. I think I've answered everything. Oh, can you add NinjaTrader web version to DT in the DT? I know what the DT is. The web version of DT. What's DT? Do you mean DM, the Discipline Manager? Can I add it to NinjaTrader's web version? I think you're asking if I could add Discipline Manager to the new web version that Ninja just came out with. And the answer to that is no right now. It's a desktop version. But it's on your account. Again, it's on your account. So as long as Discipline Manager has access to your account, it could be on multiple machines. You don't even have to have it running on your machine. And as I said earlier, I have a hedge fund that runs multiple licenses of it. You don't have to have it on that machine. You just have to have access to that account. And if your machine 1 has access to the account, but you're trading on machine 2 or a phone, that's fine, as long as it has access to your account. And of course, your rules for that particular account have to be applied, by the way. So yes, you could technically do that by signing on, on the desktop version, and then you can go mobile, and you could trade on the web. And if you breach something, then it'll kick you off. What does the daily trailing stop do, and does it relate to all, including unrealized orders? Well, unrealized orders is a work of art. I'll tell you that right here. Here it is right here. Because you don't, the only problem is you don't see it. I mean, it's so fast, you can't see it. And that's where that status box, and that's where we're working with the status box. And I'm hoping within the next week or two. And I say that, but maybe a month, but in any event, you can get on the email list on that, because that's going to be the first thing. It's going to be installed on status box first, and then from there it'll be implemented in here. But that's just going to give you a glance at you would put in your account, you put in your drawdown limit, whatever it is, and then it just gives you the balance of what you got left. Now here, if you were to click the unrealized orders, then internally it looks at the peak. And so while you're in an order, you'll be in an order. Next thing you know, you get a breach. And so, well, what happened? It's like, well, during the intra trade, the numbers have gone up there, and now they've come back down, and it hits your rule or whatever rules you have, and that's it. So the only problem is with unrealized orders, they're kind of naked, because they move around so fast, especially if you trade NASDAQ. There's, you just can't see them that fast. So it's a little hard one to do, but it does work. And after we investigate and look at some statistics, you realize, oh yeah, it kind of did what it has to do. And so therefore you change your rules or whatever we need to do to accommodate, or you just got out and I'm glad you got out, kind of thing. So but yes, you do have the option to do unrealized. So, but you have to take that into consideration when you're setting your goals. So, or your drawdown limit. So you have to deal with your heat. So if you have $1,000 in this scenario, $1,000 right here before you get halted, or a lot. If you don't want a warning, by the way, 99999. Typically, you see it over here. If you don't want a warning, just 99999. You won't get a warning. So if you don't want a warning here on your drawdown, just put 999 on there, and the only thing you're going to get is a halt. However, if you're using unrealized orders, you've got to take that into consideration. So you might need a little bit more wiggle room in there, because depending on the market that you're trading, it's going to fluctuate, and it could fluctuate and pop you out, very easily. So if you're nearing, $1,000, you're down, maybe $800 or something like that. And now you've only got a $200 of wiggle room for intra or unrealized intratrade data. Oh boy, so that could be, detrimental, especially if you're trading NASDAQ. So, all right, I think I've covered all my questions, and I think I've done everything in a lot of time. So I want to respect your time. And again, so if I get, where was that slide? If I can go there, let's see, where was that? Yeah, right here on there. This is the one if you want to get emails on the discount codes. And if you go to the status box, there's one there for that too, so you can get updates on. I just don't like inundating people with all these emails if they're not interested. If you're not interested in discount codes, then don't sign up for this one. If you're interested only in the status box, well, then sign up for that one. And then that way you don't get inundated with all these emails that come in, the things that you're not interested in. But anyway, here's the discount code down here, a little button, and it'll give you a little discount, and you're good to go. So, and that will expire on, yes, it will work on sim accounts. That will expire on Sunday night. So if you want to play with it over the weekend, that's fine, although it is a holiday weekend. So I apologize for that, but it is what it is. So yes, I would totally recommend using this not only on the sim account, but also on your playback. Go to playback. A lot of people I found out have not used an experimental playback. Learn playback. That is a great tool. I mean, it could use some tweaking, but the point of it is it's a great tool. So if you put your account and you set your rules up on the playback account, then you do it, and then you take some losing trades on purpose. Take some winning trades. See what happens. Just experiment with it, and you'll see what happens. Anyway, a couple more questions. Thomas, if you don't mind coming in. Where on the website do I find the status box? That is going to be under tools. If I go back a little bit more. Oh, here, I could just, here. It's right here, tools. So go to tools, and it's the status box right here. Stats at a glance. So you can check that one out. And I don't have a slide for that, but if I clicked in there, you would get one of those, give me an email update on status box. So anytime there's some version updates, you'll get anything related to status box, you'll get an email on. Where is the playback account on Ninja? Thomas, you're more than welcome to jump in here too, but when you obviously you have to be disconnected from a live account. Unfortunately, you can't play back on a live account. Wish I could. But you would have to be disconnected. Then you go under connections and you say, it says market play. They changed. It used to say market replay. Now it says market playback or playback connection, I think it is. So playback connection. And then you have to pick your market. So you would pick some data that you got to download something. So let's say you go download NASDAQ and the proper month, you want to download yesterday's data. So you would download yesterday's data and then you say continue, and then it fires up. You hear the little tone that says you're connected, and you have a little slide scale on your chart, and you can go fast, slow, and different. You can go to a certain spot of the day if you want to go right to 9 o'clock or whatever it might be. So you do that, and then you say play. It's a tape recorder of the data. And they only go back, I think, 90 days or something like that. But there are companies out there that can give you 5 years of data, that kind of ththing. But no, all you want to do is see what happened yesterday. Now you could even get today's data, but you're only going to get it till, well, you're going to get a half day. The only reason why I stay away with getting today's data is because if you go like a week from now and you come back to today, you're not going to remember that you only got a half a day. So, you can, but I would stay away from it. So if you went in there today and said, give me yesterday's data on this particular market, then boom, your tape recorder's on, hit play. And when you hit play, then you can go 1 time speed, 2 times speed, 3, 100, 500, 10,000, I think 1,000, then max speed. You can just fly. Now, obviously, you can't take trades that fast, but if you assign that account to the playback account and then you make some trades, the discipline manager will work on that account, and then you could see where you need to tweak. Where is the link on this call? I am using a mobile Zoom version and listening to the call. Couldn't tell you. I do not know. If we're at the tail end of it now anyway, so you probably missed it. You have to get the recording. Actually, if you, I can't even tell you where to go because you can't see it. You're on your phone. There is a way to do it, but it's a little late now. So, sorry, but oh, you got it. Okay, so they got it this time. All right. So, what else? Anything else? Thomas, I think I'm done.
And thank you again, Steve, for taking the time to share with us today. If you enjoyed today's sessions, we hope you will join us in future webinars. Follow us on social medias for alerts about upcoming events and other NinjaTrader ecosystem news. We would like to remind you that the information provided was that of Trimper.com and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Enjoy the rest of your day. We hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at the NinjaTrader ecosystem.
Thanks, Thomas.